The government has indefinitely shelved its bid to overhaul religious freedom laws, leaving one of the coalition's central 2019 election commitments hanging in uncertainty. Key points: the government has shelved its religious freedom bill after a failed motion in the Senate. The government has shelved its religious freedom bill after a failed motion in the Senate. The government lost a major vote on its religious discrimination bill overnight. The government lost a major vote on its religious discrimination bill overnight. Liberal MPs voted against the government to pass protections for trans students. After a marathon sitting of the House of Representatives, where proposed laws passed in the dawn hours of this morning, the government failed to bring the matter on for debate in the Senate, where the bill was set for a second showdown today. Coalition sources have confirmed the government is all but guaranteed not to bring it back for debate when the Senate next sits in March. That is because the government does not want further debate about religious freedoms to hijack its plans to sell a pre-election budget. The religious discrimination bill put before the lower house this week was a much watered-down version of what the government had initially proposed. Even so, several moderate liberals said they were concerned with parts of the bill that remained, as well as a separate amendment introduced at the same time to protect school students based on their sexual orientation, but not their gender identity. In the early hours of this morning, 5 Liberal MPs joined Labour and the crossbench to vote against the government and extend protections for transgender school students. In the wake of that defeat, the government turned to religious groups to consult on the future of the contentious laws. The religious discrimination bill itself remains unchanged, but some religious groups have been adamant they do not support the transgender student protections passed alongside it. Assistant Minister to the Attorney General Amanda Stoker said the amended bill was flawed. "It's not what the government designed," Senator Stoker said. "It's not what we thought had got the balance right." Conservatives push for undermined bill to be abandoned. Conservative government members and some religious groups are advocating for the bill to be formally dumped. The Australian Christian Lobby said removing exemptions that allowed schools to discriminate against trans students completely undermined the bill. The exemptions have enabled faith-based schools to teach their religion and conduct their schools according to their faith values, ACL Director Wendy Francis said. The loss of this protection would outweigh any benefits that could be obtained by the religious discrimination bill. With the amendments so damaging to religious freedom, the government should immediately withdraw the bills. Senator Eric Abetz, a Conservative member of the government, said he was currently minded to encourage the government to withdraw the bill. The government had proposed to strike out existing laws allowing students to be expelled over their sexuality, a move supported by groups such as the Christian Schools Association, CSA. But extending that to gender identity created extra complications, Christian schools and the government argued. The CSA feared protections for transgender staff and students could hinder religious schools in teaching their faith, and raised issues around bathroom facilities and uniforms in single-sex schools, among other things. The government wanted that issue to be considered by the Australian Law Reform Commission and reported back on within the next 12 months. This morning, government senators vowed to try and revert the changes, but within hours the Senate rejected bringing it on for debate, deferring it to a future date.